it's important to dream big. And I don't think anybody should ever stop dreaming big, even if you never realize those goals. It's by trying to reach for the stars that we keep pushing ourselves, that we keep advancing. It's okay to fail because we all fail. We aren't going to accomplish all of the goals in our life, but it doesn't mean that our life is a failure. It doesn't mean we're a failure as a person. You just pick yourself up, dust yourself off, maybe readjust your goals, refocus, and keep going.
It's the Health in the Real World podcast. It's time to start the show with Chris Janke as your host. Here to give you everything that you need when it comes to fitness strategies. We keep it simple and easy. It's your roadmap to get healthy. You don't need equipment and you don't need a gym. Just the right strategies to get you fit and trim.
Hello and welcome to Health in the Real World. We're here today with Corey Armitage. How you doing, Corey?
I'm good. I'm excited to be here. This is my first time participating in a podcast, so thank you very much for this opportunity. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. Thanks. I'm excited for you too, because, this podcast, I'm very conversational. There are no trick questions. So we're just going to roll with it and let you talk about what you know and what you're good at. And sounds like you do training and rehabilitation, kind of yoga, things like that. Can you give us a little bit more as far as a description on that and what you do?
Sure. So basically, since I graduated from university, I've worked alternately and sometimes in both at the same time, the healthcare and fitness industries. So I've done personal training, group fitness instruction, and then I've worked in hospital and clinical settings, community settings, helping people recover from injuries. I spent about a year supporting people who have brain injuries, living in the communities, kind of helping them get out and about, do the daily things. So kind of been all over the place.
Nice. That's awesome. Sounds like you've been busy.
I like to keep busy. Yeah.
That's
I mean, it's a balancing act, right? Like busy enough that I feel like I've done good at the end of the day, but I also don't, work myself till midnight.
Right. I like that. Busy enough. That's good. That's a good kind of motto to live by, right? You're active, you're contributing, but you're not going so over the top that you're missing out on some other fun things.
Yeah. I have to say, like, work-life balance is something that's always been very important to me. I have the things that I like to do outside of work, and I like to make sure I have the time for them. I think that's really important for self-care. I just don't want to be one of those people who just gets consumed by their job.
Right.
You just come every day and you're like, oh my God, I don't even have time and energy to do something. It's not always easy to strike that balance, but I'm pretty fiercely protective of it.
Well, there's definitely something to be said about putting those boundaries and not working yourself so hard that, you're trying to get other people healthy and fit and you're not healthy and fit yourself because you're not in that balance. So definitely all about that too. So you kind of already sort of answered my first question. My first question was, what is one of the most important things somebody can do to get healthy? And we talked a little bit about work-life balance. What do you say to a new client? Like or somebody even you meet at a party or something, like what are some of the things that you believe are foundational as far as where to get started?
So it's always important to really get a sense of how motivated the person is, and kind of explore what their reasons are for wanting to get more fit. And then just kind of reinforcing like, no, those are all really good ideas. Like you want to lose some weight, you want to avoid having a heart attack, so you're here when your granddaughter gets married or something like that. And then I like to explore, so what's your experience? Did you play sports? Have you worked out in the past? Like, is there a kind of a basis that you've got that we can start with? We're not exactly starting from scratch. And then, it's really always driven by the client. Like, what do you want? What do you like to do? What are your goals? Okay, well, let's work together. What do you think about trying this, trying that? Functional fitness has always been very important for me. So how do you move in your life? Let's work on training those movements. I mean, if you're an office worker, obviously you're sitting a lot. So let's just do some general full body work, but maybe you're a factory worker, you're doing a lot of heavy lifting. So we want to kind of train that lifting movement. So obviously working on core, proper technique for lifting. So, but yeah, keeping it functional, keeping it simple. I'm not the kind of trainer who's going to, unless you're really asking for it, I'm not going to have you standing on a ball and doing squats, That's a bit extreme and usually just really is necessary, but
if you were that kind of trainer, I would not publish this episode.
Okay. I in one of my previous jobs, I worked at CFB Kingston, so Canadian Forces Base Kingston, as a fitness and sports instructor. It was a civilian role, but providing like fitness classes, personal training for the military, doing fitness testing. One of my fellow instructors, he was the most extreme person I've ever seen. He was the guy that was standing on balls doing squats, and he's always complaining about how sore he was. He's getting injured. And I'm like, do you not think that what you're doing contributes? He's like, no. Okay, I mean, your life, your choice, you do what you want. But
it just seems like something that's a little bit unnecessary. There's that, I don't know if you're doing squats with like weight on your back or anything, but I'm sure you've seen those pictures of the trainer on like the Bosu ball doing back squats with 135 pounds. That just seems completely unnecessary. And the risk reward ratio is way out of whack. You might as well ride on a roller coaster with no seatbelt, right? It just seems a little ridiculous.
Yeah, I think it's really important, again, like to keep it simple, to keep it functional, to keep it safe. And above all, technique is really important to me. And if you're doing something where you can't maintain good form, then it's not worth doing it. You're going to hurt yourself and the benefits diminish.
It's just completely like not even an exercise you should be even trying at this point. If you can't even do it, you're not even really doing the exercise. I have a 3-part checklist. Form, feeling, and time. So form is what you're talking about. It has to look good. It has to be the actual form. If they can't maintain the form, then I just switch the exercise immediately. And then the other 2 are more about how many repetitions I'll do with somebody. So feeling and time, actually I take that back. Sorry. Feeling is similar to form, but it's their interpretation of it. So if they look good, their form is good, but their lower back is killing them, then obviously they don't pass that checkbox either. And then time or reps, that's just to determine, like, say, for example, you can do 3 reps of a squat with good form and it feels good. But when you do the 4th one, it's, you cave or something happens. Great. You can do 3. That's where we're going to start. Right. And I think so many people, and it sounds like you're right in my camp with this. So many other people are so concerned about doing the hardest workout or the latest or greatest workout. It's like, it really doesn't matter. Let's just see what your body can do. And then we'll take a little baby step tomorrow, and then a little baby step the next day, and a little baby step the following day. You kind of do something similar to that?
Yeah, exactly. I like the way you put it. And feeling definitely how they're feeling. And I've never pushed the idea of training to failure. Like you said, if you can get to 4 or to 10 and you've got good form, but 1, 2 more, that's when it starts to fall apart. Well, you get to 10. That's as far as you take it, like you said. And I just think that those are really great ideas. I'm definitely on board with that. And one of the pet peeves I have is that people get these ideas that I have to do this thing. Everybody's running, I should run, but people have to take into account that we're all built differently and we can't all do the same things as well. I mean, if we could all do everything equally, we'd all be Olympic athletes, right? I cannot run as fast as Usain Bolt, no matter how hard I try.
Right.
I'm just not meant to. And so there's also that too, right? Like you've got to really work with the client, get them to know themselves, their limitations, what feels good, what they're comfortable with. And that really, I think, is a big key to keeping them committed, because if they're not liking it, if they're hurting, and they're not telling you, they're just going to I quit, I walk away.
Right.
And maybe they don't even ever come back to exercise. So you really have to be very thoughtful.
So that's a good segue for my next question, because people quitting, falling off the wagon, just kind of being tired of doing it. Do you have like a pep talk that you give to clients who get to that point of just giving up, or whether it's they get injured, like you said, or they're just bored? Is there something you say to them?
So first off, I would respond by saying, "Oh, well, I'm really sorry that you feel that way and that you want to quit. So let's talk about that. What is it that's turning you off? And let's explore that. Let's figure that out. Okay, now we've identified that these are the things that are bothering you. Well, can we change them? And if we change them, do you think that that's going to make it more interesting? Like, I've been doing this same routine for 8 weeks. I'm so bored of it. Oh, well, I mean, the obvious fix, let's give you a different routine. Let's make it a little different, a little more challenging. Or, I've been trying to bike and I'm not succeeding and I want to quit. Well, then let's stop biking. Let's get you running or swimming or something. So it's really trying to drill down to what is your reason or reasons for wanting to quit? Why did you fall off the wagon? And can we fix those and then gently get you back on that wagon without, immediately throwing like the full thing at you? Let's start it a little less than what you were doing and maybe explore, try different things. And is it me? Do you not like working with me? Well, then, hey, I know this other trainer. He's good. She's good. Maybe we pass you on to someone else and there's a better personality fit. That can always be a factor too, right?
Yeah, definitely. There are a lot of different ways. And I agree with you. There's a million different ways to get healthy and fit. And there's a million different trainers, right? So for somebody to give up because either they don't like the workout or they aren't jiving with the trainer, just for everybody watching out there, I'd just say, keep going. Like, just try a different way, right? Just, if this particular exercise isn't good for you, try a different one. There's another way to work that same muscle. So I really like what you said about that. There's always something. There's always a little shift that somebody can do to get past that.
Yeah, and it's not like one size fits all. There's a million ways to work your chest muscles. Just let's find the one that you like the best.
Right. Yeah. What about you, Corey? So one thing that I've realized as a trainer, I've been a trainer about 15 years, is that sometimes people look at me and say, "Oh, well, yeah, it's easy for you. You have." Insert your excuse here, right? More time, better genetics, or you're younger, or whatever. But I like to humanize us as trainers and say, we have struggles too. We have things that we have to overcome. So where do you struggle in your health and fitness? And what has been your strategy to get past that?
Well, I definitely I suffer from anxiety and from depression. So some days that just makes it really hard to get up. And to be honest, since the pandemic started, it's definitely been a stressful time. So you kind of wake up and you're like, 6 a.m. I mean, do I really want to do this? I don't feel good in my head. But I remind myself, it's like, you need to do this because this is how you balance your mental health. It's one of the ways you cope with your anxiety and your depression. It's good for your health. It's good for your self-confidence. When you finish it, even at the start, if you're like, I just don't want to do this, at the end, you're gonna be like, no, I'm glad I did that. I feel better. I feel energized. So there's a lot of that self-talk. I remember before I got into yoga, I was a competitive athlete. I did rowing, including 4 years of varsity, and I was forced to quit because of an injury. And so I still had that competitive drive. Like, I need to keep doing something to push. So I got into doing a lot of heavy weightlifting. I wouldn't really call it bodybuilding, but I was definitely pushing myself really, really hard. And it got to a point where I actually burned myself out and I didn't like it. And so I actually canceled my gym membership and just focused on running. And I knew in the back of my head, like, no, you got to do something for resistance training. So eventually, after my girlfriend at the time poked me enough, I gave yoga a try. And then I discovered, hey, yoga can be a form of resistance training. I actually really like this. So this is getting that resistance training back into my life. It's reestablishing the balance that you need in your training. And yeah.
Yeah, yoga absolutely is resistance training. I think that's one thing that people who aren't aware of this need to realize. I think, load bearing, developing bone density, things like that doesn't have to be lifting weights, like at a gym, you can, you weigh something, you can lift your own body. And yoga is a fantastic way, especially with the subtlety and the slow progression and the breathing and the meditative aspect of it. I think it's fantastic that yoga has kind of caught on. It's not for everybody, but I think a lot of people could benefit from doing yoga type activities, which is really good that you got that started.
I'm really glad I discovered it. I'm really glad that I was bugged enough to finally go and give it a try. And it's a great it's a tremendous part of my life. I mean, I'm really glad that I have it in my toolbox, and it's something that I can regularly practice, and teaching it's a lot of joy as well. And, you know, it's just such a natural activity. I don't use props. So it's just you and your mind and your body and your mat. And, you know, like you said, it could be a great form of strength training. It could just be like a really zen, relaxing experience as well. If you just want to like hang out in poses for long periods of time and not transition rapidly, like I even taught chair yoga, which was phenomenal. You know, people get the misconception. I mean, there's so many misconceptions out there about exercise and eating, but yoga, you got to be able to get down on the mats, and you have to wear a Lululemon or something like that. You know, it's like, nah, comfortable clothes. And you know what, sit in a chair, there's so much that we can do in a chair. And I've had people in wheelchairs come into the class, and it's just one of those things that you can just make it so easily acceptable and adaptable. And like you said, it's not for everybody. I've had a lot of people say, you know, I tried it, I didn't like it, but I just like how it's just such an easy activity to work with.
Yeah, it absolutely is. And like you said, you don't even need blocks or pillows, or you literally need nothing. You can do it anywhere. But so Corey, I want to go real big picture now. I want to put you in front of a group, corporation or a graduation or something like that, where you are giving a 1 to 2 minute motivational speech about the big picture, about life, about goal setting, about being happy, about whatever direction you want to go with it. So what is your 1 to 2 minute motivational speech?
Well, first of all, you really have to have a good idea of what you want to do and what makes you happy. And sometimes the two don't connect. You might think, oh, you know, this is the industry I want to work in. This is the job I want. And then you get to it and you're like, you know, I don't like this. That's okay. You're allowed to change, and most people change. But I think, you know, the first step is really knowing what you like to do, what makes you happy, and then going out and being able to do that. It's important to dream big, and I don't think anybody should ever stop dreaming big, even if you never realize those goals. It's by trying to reach for the stars that we keep pushing ourselves, that we keep advancing. It's okay to fail, because we all fail. We aren't going to accomplish all of the goals in our life, but it doesn't mean that our life is a failure. It doesn't mean we're a failure as a person. You just pick yourself up, dust yourself off, maybe readjust your goals, refocus, and keep going. And make sure you've got a good support system. You know, we don't live in isolation. You know, have friends, have family, surround yourself with good people who care about you, who want what's best for you, who are there the moment that you ask for help. Like that's also going to be really important to having a healthy, successful life. And when it comes to exercise and diet, I mean, I like to think about it as investing in a bank. So as we get older, we all know with age, with time, health starts to decline, physical and mental capacity starts to decline. But if you treat your body well, you treat your mind well over the course of your life, you exercise, you do good things for your mental health, you eat well, you know, you're building up that bank account that when you have to start drawing on it towards the end of your life, you can slow down that process. And it's not just like, oh my goodness, I'm 65 and retired and I can't move. Like, no, I'm 65, I'm healthy, I can still enjoy however much time I have left. Like, exercise isn't just about in the moment, it's also a long-term investment to ensure that you know, when you get to that point that you have the freedom to do what you do, you're actually able to go and do it, you know. And whatever you do, you need to be kind to yourself. I mean, that's one of the best pieces of advice I could ever give anyone. Like, I can say, oh, you're a failure, but if you in your own head are telling yourself you're a failure, that's a whole different level. And you need to be kind. You need to say, okay, it's okay to screw up. It's okay to fail. It's okay if others are succeeding where I'm not. I'm still going to do my thing. I'm still a good person. You've got to look at, you know, what are the positives in your life? What are the good things? Make sure you never lose sight of that. Even if you're going through a time when maybe you've lost your job, but are you healthy? What about your friends and your family? Like, do you have lots of supports? You've got to, you know, again, the big picture is important, but you need to keep a focus on the little picture as well. And when it comes to goal setting, you know, again, reach for the stars, but also make sure you set more intermediate goals that can more easily be reached, because then you're like, oh, I did this little thing and I feel good, so I move on to the next little thing, and it kind of keeps you going. It keeps you moving through whatever it is you're doing.
Yeah, that's great. Great speech. I love it.
Thanks.
I want to jump off of one thing you said. I love this, that, you said that somebody could call you names or whatever, and that's one thing. But if you're negative talking to yourself, that's a completely different thing. And I heard a really great analogy, and that's like if you're walking down the street and somebody says, "Hey, man, your hair is purple." Like 100%, your hair is not purple. You're not going to internalize that. You're not going to go around the rest of the day and say, "Oh my God, he called my hair purple." Oh my God. Like there's a 0% chance that you're going to do that, because you just know your hair's not purple. But for some reason, if somebody comes up to us and says, "You're stupid, you're an idiot, what's wrong with you? You're so selfish," we internalize that, like, "Oh my God, how did you know?" So it's getting so clear inside of ourselves that we are good people, that we're doing the best we can. And like you said, be kind to yourself. I think that's key. I love that you said that. I think it's awesome.
Even myself, I mean, these are things that I struggle with. You have to, whether it's taking that approach, every morning you wake up and the first thing you do is think about 5 things you're grateful for, or just having that continuous self-talk going through the head about, okay, you're struggling, but this is good. And it's hard. And I think it's doubly hard because of the world we live in today with social media. It's not like you just get told out on the street, "You're an idiot." Then someone on Facebook and someone on Twitter can say the same things to you. I keep saying, I'm so glad I'm not a kid through this generation, because email only came into existence when I was in high school. So I'm dating myself a little bit there. I can't imagine like the pressures. But yeah, like self-kindness is not always easy to come by, but you got to keep at it.
Yeah, I agree 100%. So Corey, how do people get in touch with you? Website, social media?
I guess I don't really have a lot that's out there, but I mean, LinkedIn is one of the best ways, especially if you're there. I don't use Facebook or Twitter for anything professional. I kind of keep those more personal. In fact, I only started a Twitter account because I was hunting a PS5. I never had one. And then I was like, okay, they're saying there's one at this store. And then I kind of kept it because it does give you quick little news updates that maybe come ahead of like other sources. But yeah, LinkedIn is a great way to go. My email address, it's coreyyaa23@gmail.com. People are welcome to use that as well. Just, please don't send me stuff at 3 a.m.
Definitely not. All right. Well, Corey, thank you so much for joining me today. Health in the Real World. Everybody watching, please go check out Corey on LinkedIn, connect, ask him questions, and feel free to continue that conversation. Thank you, Corey.
Thank you. Again, really happy to have this opportunity, and that was a nice chat. Thanks.
Thanks for listening to the Health in the Real World show. Make sure to like and subscribe and comment down below. Visit mycorebalance.com to learn more.